You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Opeyemi Agbaje. Today we discuss that much neglected arm of government, the legislature. I talk to someone who should know, and we review all of the roles and responsibilities and many of the criticisms of the Houses of Assembly. Enjoy the program. You're welcome back to the Policy Council. My guest today is a member of the Lagos State House of Assembly. In fact, the first member of the House of Assembly that I'm entertaining on this program. He's an engineer. He's a member of various committees of the House: Education, Works and Infrastructure, Public Accounts, Waterfront Infrastructure, and others. And he's almost my member. Unfortunately, my house is slightly outside his constituency. Engineer Gbolahan, Yishawu, you're welcome to the Policy Council.
Thank you very much.
So it's a pleasure to have you here. We've had the governor on this program. We've had several members of the State Executive Council. But it's the first time we're engaging with a member of the House of Assembly. And that leads me to ask, do you think that members of the House are sufficiently, indeed we've had legislators from the federal level, are sufficiently in the face of the Lagos people, or of the public, even in other states? Are we hiding away, or are we, because legislators, say if I went into New York City, I would see the legislator on the air, I would see them talk. Are our legislators sufficiently out on the streets, interacting with their public?
So, like you said, we should be in the face of the people. We should be able to marshal their perspective, aspirations, and expectation. So it is our duty. But a lot of people do it in different ways. Like communication is done in different ways. You have members that communicate directly with their constituents, town hall, maybe meetings, informal meetings, and so on and so forth. But like you said, yes, we should do a lot more.
Let me bring you, for instance, this program is focused on policy and governance. And it's a related but it's slightly different challenge. So my question is, do we, and this is not peculiar to Lagos, all the state houses of assembly across the country, do you believe that state houses of assembly play a sufficiently strong role in policy as they ought to play?
Beyond the shores of Nigeria, African countries generally, the legislative arm of government is just maturing. Because, you know, most of the African nations, except 2000, thereabout, when NIPAD came in, that the vogue is now democracy. It used to be a very authoritarian environment. So the legislature in the democratic setting,
it's
new because in the military setting, the legislature is the first thing you take out. And it's still very nascent, you understand? So you find out, even we're much better in Lagos. You go to some assemblies, they don't even have enough committee rooms, they don't have capacity, they don't have, not because the individuals don't, they don't even have research units that can give them information. So if you look at it on a broader scale across the nation, even across Africa, the problem is there. But in Lagos State House of Assembly, it's a bit different. I mean, we have, some people even say splendor offices, which is conducive for working. We have enough committee rooms. We have what we call Legislative Research and Budget Office. It's new, but it's there, which gives us information. So if you're dealing with the executive, I'm not dealing only with the information of the executive. I have background information.
Like the Congressional Budget Office.
Yes, I mean, the budget it's said in the legislative parlance that the budget is dead on arrival. It can only be dead on arrival if I have my own budget, I have my own estimate. I know how much a kilometer of road should be. I know how much building chairs and tables in schools should be. So if I look at the figures of the executive, I should be in a position to take an informed decision. Not that I haven't got the mental capacity or information capacity to deal with it. So it's a bit much different for us. Also in Lagos, you know, we have financial autonomy. So to a great extent, financial autonomy on recurrent expenditures, not on capital. It's a bit different. If we want to build a house now, that is the complex, you have to go back to the executive. But to a great extent in Lagos State, we have more than 60-70% of what we need to perform as legislators in other clients. Maybe the part I could say, well, a bit, is the salaries of our aides. I say salaries of aides, I'm not talking about my own salary. I'm talking salaries of aides because you need research aid. You come up with an idea, you need to be able to tell somebody, please go and get me this information, do you understand? Without wanting to go to another unit. You want to make contribution on the floor of our house. So if we are able to pay them a bit more, then the caliber
of the quality of the information.
You understand that we'll have will be better, which will impact on the quality of debate and quality of legislation, quality of policies, and so on and so forth. That's what happens.
Excellent. Let me ask you. I mean, you're a professional engineer. Why did you go into politics?
Well, I think a lot of people are getting to that point now because they realize that you don't leave the governance arena for, in quotes, people you, by your own perception, believe cannot offer the best the nation needs. So you need quality people in politics. Politics is for everybody. We play politics in our homes, we play in workplaces, and so on and so forth. So you need people to take the bull by the horn. And like they say, you only need a few good men to change things. It doesn't have to be anybody. So it is a sacrifice for me. You understand? And I am the kind of person that I like seeing things being done right. I don't want to say I'm a disciplinarian, a perfectionist, but I like things being done right. And I like to get my hands dirty, get my feet dirty, get the job done. So I chose not to sit on the rim of a cup like not all of us cannot be there and just be a armchair politician complaining,
like all the rest of us.
Complaining. So let me go in there and see how it's done and let me be able to, you understand, offer myself for service. So that's the way I say it. It's just my own nature.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the engineer in me that likes to get our hands dirty and get hands on whatever we do.
Excellent. Well, I'm talking to Honorable Gbolahan Yishawu, is a member of the Lagos State House of Assembly. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, and we're talking about the role of the legislature in policy and governance. So, Honorable Yishawu, let me ask you, I mean, if you talk to the average enlightened person, or even the average unenlightened person, about what they think of members of the State House of Assembly, or indeed of the Houses of Assembly as an institution, and this is again across the country, the common opinion is that the houses are essentially the alter ego of the governor. The governors choose the people who go there, tell them what they should do and not do, rubber stamp whatever the governor has decided. In effect, most people believe the Houses of Assembly are not playing their constitutional roles. What do you say to that? Well,
you can look at it from 2-3 perspectives. The initial one is, take for instance Lagos State House of Assembly. We have what we call executive briefing of budgets. So we would have trashed a lot of things out in the executive briefing before the budget comes to the House as a whole and the committees as the case may be.
This executive briefing on budget is before the formal presentation by the government?
Before the formal presentation. They would have told us. I was opportunity to be in the 2014 executive briefing session, so I know. And I can tell you for free, it is not pleasant. We ask very, very deep questions, you understand? So when we pass that stage, obviously what they're going to submit is going to be less controversial than what
because you have had the opportunity.
You understand? We've explained to them. They've also informed us indirectly, so we are aware. We have made our position known, what you should bring and what you shouldn't bring. So it's a lot easier when it comes. So you see, the process of budget formulation had been participatory ab initio. And that is what is important about good governance. It must be participatory. I, for one, probably knows what my constituents want, so if you are saying something that I know is not palatable to my people, I would have told you in the first instance, don't put it there. This is the critical thing that we believe is going to happen. And it goes around like that because we canvass...
40 of you.
Yeah, we would have canvassed, the few people in the committee would have canvassed the views of everybody. And we sit together day in, day out. To a great extent, we are an epitome, a representation of the people. So I don't even need all the time to consult because I already know the position of my people. But there are times we need to consult. So the budget that comes to the assembly in the first place, it's to an extent a participatory budget. So the rest is just crossing the T's, dotting the I. On a policy level, it's fine. So now you're checking what did you do with the previous one, which is a function of oversight. You understand? What are you planning to check in, ensuring that there are no duplications, and so on and so forth. So it's not a very difficult process. You understand? So if you view it from that angle that, oh, yes, it's a rubber stamp, it's actually not a rubber stamp. There are a lot of things that have gone on behind the scene.
Let's take the issue of confirmation of appointments.
Yes.
And let me put the Lagos State House of Assembly in particular on the spot in this case. I'm not aware, and I've observed that house closely, say from 1999. I'm not aware that there have been an instance in which a nominee for any office, commissioner, special advisor, whatever, has been screened by the House and turned down. I mean, we can compare with, say, the U.S. Senate, which confirms appointment, and at least once every while, there's a controversy over one appointee, and then it's deferred or it's turned down. So what do you say to that?
To share some facts with you, I remember in 2011, yes, I think we're confirming commissioners' essays. And I would not want to mention names. But I remember that particular time when the guy came and we're throwing questions at him. Generally, and one of my legislative friends, my colleague that was sitting next to me, now told him that he was here last term and he was thrown out. So you see that we don't throw, that we concur with everything the executive does. Maybe because of lack of information, people may not know. But it's not all the time.
Okay.
We do turn people down.
Okay. So there's no reason?
There's no reason. At a point in time, it was as if I was even praising them because I remember I was saying things like, you are the fifth female chief judge that's been presented. Your family alone has presented two. And I said, I can't even do that in a political parlance, that I'll not say, oh, my brother is going to take over for me. It's almost impossible. But in your professional environment, nobody's even batting an eyebrow because you merit it. Yeah. So you see, when we're not there to criticize unnecessarily. When they deserve the accolades, we should give it to them.
I totally agree.
That's how I take it.
Interesting conversation with Honorable Gbolahan Yishawu, the representative of Etiosa Constituency 2 in the Lagos House of Assembly. We'll be right back.
My name is Opeyemi. I live for Lagos. You see as our new Lagos just define the good. Good thing good though. To go market now, no hard at all. Just pay. Sit down inside BRT bus. Small time, you don't reach where they go. Hospital call, the full ground. And for me and my pikin where I just born, treatment now free. You look left, you look right. Them they build new roads, new hospitals, new schools, new things everywhere. Everywhere they shine, gone. We thank God though. But come on, I hear saying that this tax money wey they pay, and then they use to do all these good things. Me I they pay my own tax too. Say they pay your own.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, and I have the privilege of the company of a member of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Gbolahan Yishawu. So, again, the perception, and I suspect, like the others, it may not be the complete truth, but the perception is that the bills are written by the executive and with little or no input from the houses generally. Again, not Lagos specifically. They are passed into law, and essentially the perception, the general public's perception, is that laws represent the will of the executive, not the will of the, or as it should be, the joint will of the people expressed through their representatives, and then moderated by the knowledge and policy that the executive has and assented to by the government. What role, how rigorous is the House in enacting legislation?
That's our core duty, making laws, reenacting, repealing. And I can I can assure you that's what we do best. After oversight and representation anyway. That's what we do best. A bill comes, first of all, you see, bills come from 3 different areas. One, you have an executive bill, you have a private member bill, then you have a public bill. For at best, the confab could be seen as a public bill, you understand? But you do have pressure groups sometimes. They bring a bill to the House through a member that the bill should be sponsored. The executive bills, when they come, they're just like the budget. They can only propose it. And after that point, it is out of their hands. And I tell you, every member of our House, and you know there's the 20/80 rule of anything. Sometimes 20% drives the entire system. If you want to read a book, you read 20% of the most important part. You understand what the book is all about. So it's not that everybody every time participates, but 20% participate this time, 20% can participate another time. But that's more than enough for us to get a robust law. And I tell you, we go through it line by line. Sometimes we consult, maybe not in larger group, but in smaller group. I remember during the cremation law, you understand?
That was a controversial one.
My people were not in support of it. I had to speak their mind, irrespective of the fact that it still becomes a law, because we are a House of 40, majority will carry the vote, you understand? Minority might have a say in that matter. But that was what democracy. My people wanted. Yeah. That's what democracy is all about. So it's very rigorous, you understand?
Again, the usual allegation is that those public hearings, nobody knows about it, you just quietly do it. People just don't believe that people learn of laws after they are enacted, when they are confronted with the implications of the law. And so they then say, but was there a public hearing? We didn't know about any public hearing. So people don't believe that they are genuine public hearings. What would you say?
See, let's take a step back. Good governance is possible through the first 3 arms of government: the civil society, organization, the media, and the general public, as the case may be, you understand, organized public associations. We have duties. Our duty is to put it out there. That is a public hearing. We put it in national dailies for amount of funds, maybe not 10, 20, but it goes out there. And there's ample time for people to know about it. We also invite groups, stakeholders that we know that are relevant, immediately relevant to the particular topic. We send out direct letters to all of them. Yes, it may not get to everybody. I am not blaming them. It is our fault. We will continue to do a lot more to improve or increase the medium or the ways we communicate information to the people about this public hearing. But we do try. But there's room for improvement.
Let's take this law that I know you are the sponsor of, the smoking, no smoking or anti-smoking
regulation of smoking.
What was in your mind, and what's the implication of that law?
Research has proven that the damage that is done to a smoker from smoking is no different from the damage that is done to the second-hand smoker, which is a passive smoker. So if I puff cigarette now, I puff it in your face, you are facing exactly the same danger that that have smoked directly is facing. No difference. And I think in the UK, they said about 600,000 people have smoking-related diseases every year. And the number of people that die that have ailments from smoking in the world, out of the 7.8 billion people there, it's over 1 billion, you understand? And why is this happening? Because even though fewer people smoke, but the people exposed to the smoke are equally at risk. The hazard is basically there. So what can we do as lawmakers, people that are representing people trying to meet their aspirations, expectations, and so on and so forth? The least we can do is try and reduce the effect. We are not saying don't stop smoking. Try and reduce the effect on non-smokers that you are forcing to smoke your own smoke. So that's the basis for the law. The thinking behind it, so we can reduce the health hazard, the funding that has to go to a hospital. We've not even done a big research on how this is done. We're taking it to line and sinker from above, that the research says that smoking, and you see one person smoking in an area, 3, 4, 5 people will be sitting around them, and that's a big problem. Then the one of the major things we are addressed in that law is the protection of the child. You have parents who smoke. They smoke within their houses. And the children are there. Of course, you can't tell your dad not to smoke. I mean, you just probably enjoy the smoke as he's doing. But they are growing. So you are actually impairing their growth.
Future.
You understand? So as a parent, you should know that. You don't even need to be told. You know it's a bad habit. You know it's a vice. They try and say, why, what are the benefits of cigarette? Really, really, really. It's like standing on the beach and taking in fresh air, you know, and psychologically feeling better. There's been no known good benefit from smoking. You are told that you have tar in it, you have a washing agent in it, you have nicotine. Nicotine is addictive. You have all kinds of things, cancerogenic, unique materials in it. But it's your habit. Don't expose these kids
to other people.
So it is very necessary, and bearing in mind that the human resource is the greatest asset of any nation. You understand? At least if you can't provide certain basic things, keep them in good health. Don't compound the problem. So that is the basis of our particular legislation.
We'll be right back. You're welcome to my final segment with Honorable Gbolahan Yishawu, member of the Lagos State House of Assembly, member of various committees, including education, works and infrastructure, public accounts and waterfront infrastructure, and as evident from our discussions over a very articulate legislator. I know that during Obasanjo's regime, there was a lot of controversy. Indeed, some of his officials questioned the whole notion of this oversight. But the contemporary view is that it's an oversight, irrespective of whatever the constitutional intent is, that in Nigeria, oversight is a mechanism by which legislators harass agencies and ministries and departments and parastatals and, in effect, extort or induce them to support them or settle them. And therefore, that the concept of oversight, which I would agree is a legitimate tool of governance to ensure that the people's representatives exercise some oversight over the unappointed people in the executive, minus the governor and the deputy governor who are appointed. But that, is it really performing that role? Speaking from the experience of Lagos.
I'll take that from a funny angle. Oversight is one tool that is entrenched in democratic setting for good governance. It's when you hear check and balance, that is the actual check on the executive. The executive spends some money, you understand? They execute. The legislator is supposed to check what they have done. And it's a simple process. This year's budget, this is what we approved for you. Let's see what you've done with it. Whether it's a tool for extortion, I'm not aware of that. Because if I come to your place and I'm armed with the budget and I ask you, show me what you've done with it, and you've actually done what you're supposed to do with it, what a further discussion are we having? Do you understand what I'm saying? Oversight is important again because it allows the legislator to see the shortcomings of certain policies of government. I've been on oversight of a particular agency before, and I looked at their process, and I said, what you're doing, you can do it better this way. And they took it, and we're all happy for it. It also sometimes brings to fore some, should I say, some, for want of a better word, from laid-backness in some of our activities. When we are oversighting, we discover contractors are not paid as when due in some areas. That is to the benefit of the public. So it's not all about even the executive. Sometimes it's about the contractor, sometimes about the agency, sometimes about the people. We visited roads that were constructed during oversight, and you see people displaying wares on the walkway of a new road. We had to talk to them because they are ready. Kai will come, last man will come, and they will run, they will bring their goods back. But we had to talk to the community. What a meeting with them. Come, look, this road you have, this walkway you have colonized is not for only you. It's for you and other road users. You are forcing the people to now step on the road, put themselves in harm's way of oncoming vehicles. But this has been built for you all. Don't do this. Okay, go this far. don't go. And they listened. And they stepped back. I don't know if they stepped back permanently or not, but at least for that purpose. So oversight is all-encompassing. And when we write reports on our oversight, we advise government on how to improve on some of these activities. So for me, I don't see it, except somebody has something to hide. You understand? And that's when they can make such. But if they're up and doing, and they are alive to their duties and responsibility, no legislator can, should I say, would wing you into bringing out money. I mean, what is, it's not necessary.
Let me ask you a question. You've spent almost 4 years?
3 years and a few months.
Going into
2.5 years.
You're on the final lap of your tenure.
Yes.
How has it been overall? Have you enjoyed the work? You seem like you have.
Oh, yes. It's as if I'm on scholarship. And the country have sent me to go to school to learn so that I can impact on the society. And I am glad for the opportunity my constituents have given me for this first term. It's very high. It's an eye-opener. And I know a lot more than I knew before. And it has even resolved strengthened my resolve that yes, we can do things better. And in my little way, I have made sure that most of the committees I'm on, they have improved on whatever they were doing very well before. And I'm really glad, you understand? And I speak informed these days. I speak facts with figures. And even in the House of Assembly on its own, the opportunity for training that we've received. Because one thing I've come to learn, even though I have an MBA, I never knew an MBA was important in government. But all the courses we've gone to, especially the one in Cambridge, for instance, governance is just like business. The only thing is that in business, you are out to maximize profit. In governance, you are out to maximize service to the public, which is the the public goods. So if you can think about it that way, as effective as we are in the private sector, we can be as effective as that in government, as long as we put the right pegs in the right holes, as the case may be.
Excellent. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
We'll be right back. That was an excellent conversation. My guest is indeed a very good ambassador of the legislative houses. I hope most of his colleagues across the country are also of that mold. The legislature is probably the most important element of democracy. It's the most important arm of government in a democracy. That's why when you have military governments, you can have the judiciary and you can have an executive. What is removed is that arm that represents the people, the legislative arm. But we need to do a lot more to boost the independence, the autonomy, the knowledge, and the capacity of that arm of government. With the example of my guests, all hope may not be lost. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.